Okay, I want to welcome everyone to our March 19th, 2018 meeting of the County Commissioners. We'll start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, we'll start our meeting with a report from the County Attorney, Matt Shipman.
Thank you. The only thing I really have to report on are things that other people are going to bring. Like John and I did work with Indiana Fiber Network to get an agreement hammered out on that. That's instead of us fronting all the money up front and hoping that they don't charge our people later, instead we're splitting it half and half between beginning and end of project, the funds, and then we kind of locked in the rates for indefinitely with just consumer price index increases as opposed to them, being able to change it dramatically. I'm still don't have anything to report really on the Inwilligent finding a lawyer in Florida. I'm hoping that I can maybe get somebody to help me with that now that I've got a little bit of help. So those are the two real things, unless you guys have questions for me that were kind of on my hopper.
Would it be helpful if we sent you to Florida, or perhaps sent one of us to Florida to look for the...
I'm getting ready to go in 2 weeks, so I could I'll pour through the phone books while I'm down there and see if I can find a...
Okay, yeah, never mind.
I bet he will.
Yeah, I bet he will too. Yeah.
So we really don't need any motions or anything for the Indiana Fiber Network?
No, John's going to bring that to you. And
Okay.
you can talk about it when that happens. Unless you want to new it down, if that's the only thing you have, then I could get...
I've got something else too.
You okay with...
Now?
Let's do it now.
So here's a clean copy of the agreement. Like Matt said, we wanted to break up the payments a little bit, so make sure we kept their attention, get it done. Also, we go in limiting the price increase to inflation, based on CPI up to 3%. So they can't get to 3 years and then double the cost again. So help tie those. My guess is that's not what IFN intended, but that would spell it out and know that that's what we got. The only change, we started talking about this in November, June 1, and they asked for a little more time, I think through maybe July 20, because we're 3 or 4 months after we started, so that be ready to go by the summer, which all of the at least 14 of the 29 businesses I've been thinking are very excited about it. So.
Great.
So is the county in for 160 or for 80?
80. The redevelopment is going to pay for 80,000 of that.
Okay, I just didn't see it in there. Is that important?
Yeah.
It's a separate agreement that we're doing between redevelopment and the county that Andy Boxberger's working on that we'll get you.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Is this the original? Is this the one that needs signed?
Yes.
So you need a motion to approve this.
I would make a motion that we approve the agreement for fiber and allow our chairman to sign for the commissioners.
It's all three.
Is it?
Okay, I've got a motion to...
One.
to approve the signing of
Excuse me.
the Indiana Fiber Network agreement with the chairman
Second.
signing. Got a second? Further discussions? All those in favor raise your right hand. Opposed the same. Thank you. Okay. Did you have anything else, John?
I wanted to talk about this
Okay.
Yeah, so, and I'm sorry I didn't get the paper to you sooner. Rachelle got it to me 2 weeks ago, and I got lost last week and done some other stuff. But essentially, there's several teachers here locally that for the last 5 years have been putting on a camp for kids like first through sixth grade, and just introducing them to science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. It's a great program. For the previous 5 years, though, they had purchased basically a franchise for the camp, and of course that was just money out the door that couldn't be used for the training and the camp. So they've been working with Bruce Stack in our small business group, helping to put together a program and kind of plan it out to make this more localized. Rachelle's been leading the charge on this, and been working with local businesses in particular, trying to, I guess, localize the programming a little more, so it's the types of things that local employers do, and getting. So her group is in the process of trying to raise approximately $25,000 to put the camp on for this summer. That helps keep the costs down, particularly for the kids that might not otherwise. So we're here to ask if you would consider putting in $2,500 of seeded money, again, to help kind of get this off the ground. Not necessarily talking about a year-to-year thing, but since it's the first year, at least help them to get a little momentum in their fundraising. I know they've talked to Sierra, the local company, helping them out with this and putting money in. They've been talking to some other folks that they're willing to take the opportunity to see if the commissioners in the county will use some of our seeded money to support this as well.
Okay. Rachelle, have you had a chance to talk to the Community Foundation at all on this?
September's been really well.
Okay.
They've kind of put me under a wing a little bit and been working with her a lot with United Way. And just this morning I was at Kreider's. One of the activities and how they all go together, and so I think we're going to try to work something out with them and bring them in and make them look at
Good.
how all that goes.
So have you got any funding possibilities through the foundation then?
I'm in the process of writing the grant for them.
Okay.
I just finished up the grant for United Way, waiting to hear back from DECO.
Okay.
So I'm working on it.
Good.
John, is there students from all three school corporations?
So it's open to everybody.
It's open, yeah. We mainly end up with kids from, but it's open to
All the corporations?
absolutely.
And you market it to Whitco and
Yes.
Cherubusco
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
In looking at the letter, if we go by the letter, all right, we can't do this. Because State Board of Accounts is adamant, we can't make donations. That's a kind of a big no-no.
Okay.
So, from that standpoint, I'd be willing to write a favorable pass to other corporations that we would endorse the program. That's not a problem, but I don't think we can use taxpayer money for this project.
yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I just thought it was like some of the other stuff that you did, like with the Humane Society and
Yep.
some of the other organizations in town.
Yep, which we get, using that as an example, they'll pick up our dogs for us and take care of our dogs in the county. So we have to get something for our money. We had a similar situation a few years ago where a lady wanted us to help with her horse ranch tour, or her horse camp, and we can't do that. We couldn't give Camp Whitley any money as a donation. So the word donation is I learned the hard way from the State Board of Accounts when I first became a township trustee. And I gave $2,000 to the local 4-H, and
You got a spanking.
I got spanked on that one, so.
Okay, well, certainly a recommendation to others that you're supportive of it would be great. But I could sign you up for class for $2,500.
See, there you go. There you go. Well, we probably have some first graders in our organization, John, so that's possible.
Well, I wasn't aware, so I apologize.
Angela, is that the type of letter that you could create for us and allow us to, the three of us, to sign it, and they can have to take to the organizations? Because I think it's a wonderful thing. I do. I just think we just can't do it. We can't use taxpayer money for that, so.
That's all I had.
I don't have anything else.
Okay, thank you, John.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rachelle.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that, Rachelle.
Okay, Brandon Forrester. Highway update.
There's a couple of right-of-way permits, if you want to
Sure.
start with those.
These new type of permits that,
That's the application that NIPSCO has always used, and
just looks different.
it is. It's their form versus
Oh.
ours. It basically says the same thing.
This one's to install gas service to the residents at 1079 North Center Street, Columbia City.
Is this the one we looked at this morning?
It is, yeah.
This is one that Brandon has approved.
The service crosses a county drain, so the Drainage Board gave consent for the crossing this morning.
Got it.
All right. I move we approve it.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion to approve the right-of-way permit for NIPSCO. We've got a second. Any further discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you.
The second one is for sewer line improvement. It's basically crossing US 30, but a small portion of it is within county road right away. Some of that's actually, in fact, I think there's more of it that's outside of our right of way and private easements, but there is a small portion, so that's been reviewed, and I okayed that also.
I also move we approve this one.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve the redevelopment commission sewer crossing. We got a second. Further discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same.
So, at the highway, we're hoping to transition from winter operations to spring operations starting tomorrow. And in doing that, we actually we started on Friday, worked on today. We should finish tomorrow doing the Pazer ratings. And last year, if you recall, we myself and Kevin went with each territory driver, and we rated every segment of every road. This year, we did a little refresher training and provided the drivers with some handouts for reference, and we paired them up, and they went out and did their own Pazer ratings.
Oh, cool.
And so we will use that to finalize, I'll say, our 2018 road program. We've got some roads that we pretty much knew we were going to do anyways, but things change, and so we'll see where everything comes in, and we're still shooting for 100 miles with chip seal, and if we can get that, and hopefully there's not 130 miles that the guys say need done, but if there is, we'll look further into it. We've also we've got some new equipment that we've received, and some that's close to being delivered. We got a new trailer for our second skid loader. We've received a gravel road maintainer, which is a nice little unit. We had one before. We got rid of it. We're going to try it again. And to go with that, we've ordered it's a disc, fits behind the back of a tractor, and it pulls the berm in off of gravel roads. Some of those gravel roads, there's 6 inches or better of berm built up on some of those. So those two units, the maintainer and the disc, will be pulled behind the new tractor that we've got coming. It's probably out at Moore's right now, getting prepped. And then we've also got a new mower deck coming for that, which is a PTO unit, hooks to the back. We will use that for mowing Business 30 and Lincoln Way, and that serves a couple of purposes. One, with the deck behind, we don't have to be out on the road to mow the edge of the road. We can be out of traffic. Then once we get mowing caught up, then we'll hook on the disc of the maintainer and go try and do some good on some of these gravel roads. This winter wasn't too kind to some of our gravel roads, and we have put, I don't know the quantity, but I know we put quite a bit of stone down on some of these roads. I know I was out on one time. I was actually out looking at high water, and I mean, this gravel road was, it was terrible. I mean, it was cracked. The dirt was cracked, and gravel road doesn't crack. A dirt road will crack when it dries out. So that's how bad that road was, and so we've been trying to also work on some gravel roads. And so today we received a mill or a cold planer attachment for our skid loader, and one of the complaints that we've received over the last year has been bumps on Business 30 and Lincoln Way, and there's one out on County Line, and there's one on 500 East. And what happens is those old roads have concrete underneath, and like everything expands and contracts with heat and cold, and concrete, it doesn't have room to expand, so it blows up the joints, and that's where those bumps come from. In the past, we've rented something to deal with that. This unit will also serve other purposes. We can clean up our culvert excavations so they're nice straight lines to patch to rather than jagged you dug it up with a backhoe kind of a thing. And so that unit was delivered today. We also continue to work on our salt storage facility. We had a recommendation to look at a pole barn type option that some guys are using a pole barn layout for fertilizer storage, which is also corrosive like salt. So we're going to meet with a pole barn contractor tomorrow to see what he can tell us about that, look at that option. So we also, this week, we need to commit whether we are or aren't going to buy into the state salt bid. I think we need to. The quantity is the question. I'm thinking we're going to commit to about 800 ton, and that's plus or minus 20. So we could anywhere from 640 to 960 ton. We would be committed 2 or 4 next year. We used more than that this year, but without a firm commitment that we're going to have a place to store it. I don't want to have a salt pile sitting out washing away in the rain. So,
So Brandon, do you think we'll be able to get a salt barn or something storage this year, or?
No, that's my plan.
Okay.
That is absolutely my plan.
And what volume are you talking for?
Well, they say, whoever they are, that you should have the capacity to store a full year's supply.
Is that 1,000 ton or so?
Well, this year it would have been closer to 1,300, I think. And that's one of those things where until global warming actually hits us, I don't see that quantity going down any. Now, we used a lot more this year than what we have in years past, and I think I mentioned 5 years in a previous meeting. It was more like 3 to 3.5 years of the prior years that we used that much this year. And
I think it's been well worth it, though.
I think it's been great. I think it was well worth it.
well, that's another justification for a salt storage facility and buying into the state bid, because it is cheaper. And when we were running short on salt this year, we paid quite a bit extra for it because the demand, some of them storms that hit out east, all that salt was going out east. Those big cities were, demanding and probably paying. We had a trucking company that went over to Ohio to get us salt so that we knew we wouldn't be without. So if we could, it's kind of like buying propane. You want to do it in the summer. You don't want to do it in the winter. And so if we've got a storage facility, we can get it stocked in the summer, be ready to go, and not have to worry about finding it or paying out the gazoo for it. So.
Brendan, those state bids, is that salt stored somewhere in Indiana then, or is it?
I'm going to guess that it comes, probably majority of it comes off Lake Michigan, or whether it's actually stored in Indiana or not, I can't know for sure.
Yeah, right. Is that decision yours then? You going to make that?
Alls we commit to is the quantity that we want to commit to purchase. It's actually a state bid. We're just being a local government.
But if we're going to participate, you got to make that decision.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
And 2 years ago, when I first started, it was like my first week on the job, and I got hit with, you need to make this decision by tomorrow. We didn't commit. and got lucky because last winter was pretty mild. For this winter, we committed, again, knowing that we didn't have a place to keep it, we committed to 400 ton, which turned into 480 because you can go over 20% over. That left us short with the way that we were treating things. So,
Do you have a feel for what size building it would take to put 1,300 ton in?
yeah, and there's a lot of variables, okay?
Okay.
How high can you stack it? Now, with the timber building, those are lined with 2x12s, treated 2x12s. And depending on the exterior bracing, whether it's subgrade or above grade, you can stack that up to 14 foot tall. And then you could have a cone on top of that, but you could literally stack it up 14 foot tall. Another option that we're looking at is constructing a structure. It's heavy duty, but it's like a tarp that fits over a frame. It's a arch, and from what I'm seeing, you can construct those on those precast blocks. But you can only go so high with those precast blocks, and so with the timber structure, you're looking at about 40 by 80 for 1,500 ton.
Okay.
And that's because you can stack it up higher, and it's going to have finished ends with doors. With these more open structures, you can't stack it as high. And there are so many, you could go 40 foot, you can go 25, 30, 45, 55, up to 65 foot wide on those, so you wouldn't have to be as long. I've done some preliminary calculations on that. I mean, don't quote me on it, but probably like 55 by 80 or 100. And then we'll see what this pole barn guy comes up with. And the prices are all over, and it's one of those things, you get just like everything else, you get what you pay for.
Right. Right.
Right now, besides the size limit that we have, the building that we're using is steel siding, steel garage door, and it's rusting away. And there's not enough room. We can only store, when we're packed, we can only store 350, 400 ton.
See, I think the upside to go big is that's great if next year we only need 400 ton. You have bought for 2020 salt at 2019 prices. So, I mean, I would like to not particularly be conservative on that in that arena, and buy something that's going to do, as you say it yourself, you get what you pay for. So let's get something that's going to last us and will hold a sufficient quantity. And to me, it's a good thing if we don't need all that salt next year.
Well, sure.
We've still saved money. So that just would be my suggestion is let's go big on this thing.
Yeah.
Do it right.
Well, I will, it's my intention to go speak to the council in April on this. I will have a little better grasp on some of the numbers. Like I say, with timber, it's pretty much it is what it is. I mean, there's a couple of options. Obviously, you can go wider and longer. The above grade and below grade bracing. With the arch, there's a lot of options, and So we'll be working on that here over the next couple weeks. I'll come to you again, your first meeting in April, go to the council, kind of try and get a feel for their support and at what level, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Had road school a couple weeks ago, and then last week there was a State Board of Accounts training session for the new annual report, Highway, Local, Road and Street annual report that you all signed last meeting or the meeting before. Short of the governor's signature, it's House and Roll Act 1290 has been signed by the President of the Senate, and that changes some things besides the formulas for MVH and LRS. One of the things that changes the law from last year it said we have to spend 50% of our MVH money on construction, reconstruction, and maintenance of roads. And those were generally defined in that statute to basically cover most of our expenses with construction, reconstruction, and maintenance of roads. What they're saying is that the legislators very specifically did not want winter operations to be part of that 50% expense, and they arguably also did not want salaries and benefits included in that 50%. Now, I printed out, and I didn't have time this morning with Drainage Board to look at it on where they finalized that. But what they did is they changed construction, reconstruction, and maintenance to construction, reconstruction, and preservation. What's the difference between maintenance and preservation? Well, if you look at the definition, preservation, its definition does not include all other incidental expenses like maintenance does. So that could tend towards their wish of us not being able to include salaries and benefits as maintenance. But so this training, State Board of Accounts was kind of leaning towards if that maintenance can be, if that preservation can be attributed towards a specific road project, then they would not take exception, I think is the language that they use. So besides the fact that that's kind of a moving target right now until the law is finalized and we actually see how it's all going to be interpreted. Regardless, we need to do a better job in our recording and ability to report. Every day, every driver fills out a daily on what material they used, what road they worked on, what equipment, truck, whatever. And I've asked Beth and the guys to report, and Beth to input into our database, specific road projects. If you patched on 6 different roads today, write those 6 roads down. Well, we're going to have to do some modification to that database, and I printed out the new, which it's in a constant state of revision, the new spreadsheet that State Board of Accounts says we have to use for our annual report. And so I want to be able to match up our database so that we can basically just export that data into a report that we can just take those numbers and plug it straight into the State Board of Accounts spreadsheet. So that's something that I'm going to try and work on, do what I can, but I'm probably going to have Gary Martin. He's our database programmer. He's done well, planning and building, health, engineering, highway, all of our database programming. Probably have him come in and do some of the more complicated stuff so that we can get those reports that we need. But,
Is that done through Gateway?
no.
No,
It is
not done
not.
through Gateway, okay.
No, it's a spreadsheet,
Yeah.
and we send it to them in spreadsheet form, and they have different entities that, they have a young man that he tracks federal aid money for everywhere across the state. So between GASB and annual reports, anything that comes in, federal aid reporting, that all, has to be compiled and then reported to Federal Highway Administration, so. So, at that training that was down in Marion last week, walk in, see some familiar faces, one of which is one of our neighbors over in Allen County, and he says, "Hey, you got any money for me?" Bill Hartman.
Yep.
I said, "Yeah, I can't quite tell you the check's in the mail, but we owe them some money for that Liberty Mills project."
Talk to these guys, because they don't,
Briefly.
so what happened was we committed like $100,000 to that project,
Yeah, and they never billed us for it.
and we made the first payment. And then,
Because I think it was 30,000 a year for 3 years.
that's where my mind, 32 or so, but
Yeah.
that's exactly where my mind went. So it's like, okay, it's sort of our fault, but without an invoice, we
Yeah, right.
can't
Right.
just write a check out of the air and give it to them. So
Well, and, apparently not right, so I'll say I was wrong in that I was of the understanding that had all been paid for. That's what I thought I heard.
well, the plan was done. The plan was done.
Right.
But
The
I
execution.
I really believe that we didn't make the last two payments simply because everybody forgot about it. We probably had a change of auditor about the same time. This goes
You
back.
didn't get any bills.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's been 4 years.
Oh yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a
So-
long time ago. That's way before me.
Oh yeah, way before you. Yep. So
So,
yeah, I guess they need to send us an invoice and.
we have invoices dating back to August.
Of this year, though. Or 17, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. They were being sent to the wrong email address, so I didn't get them until
Your predecessor?
last month. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's not, and they should know that.
Well,
But-
yeah,
but-
I would.
Regardless, okay.
Well, regardless, yeah. I mean, per our commitment in
Yeah.
local agreement, we owe them $65,000 right now, and I mean, there's money in the budget, but that. I mean, I didn't budget for that. I thought
Right.
that was taken care of.
Well, I think we all did. I think we all probably forgot about it.
So,
And I will say that Allen County was very generous to us.
They were very generous.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah,
I think that might be part of the confusion also, because about the same time, there was, again, they were the lead on it, but we did several $100,000 worth of paving on 800 East,
Did.
and they paid for more than half of that also. I think they paid for about 2/3
Yeah,
of that.
they were
So,
great to deal with, and I really feel bad about it. I mean, we owe the money. There's no doubt about it. I just thought it had probably been paid, so.
Well, so in looking back at what I could find, it appeared that there was money in the CEDAT plan to pay for that. Now, that was then.
Okay.
I don't think there's.
Did we have that
anything
come
in
out
the
of CEDAT?
Plan.
I'm not gonna say I don't remember.
The first payment come out of CEDAT.
The first payment came out of CEDAT?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So the question is, I mean, bottom line, here's the options.
I'm sorry, but there's another thing. So then why wasn't it put in as a plan for the following year and the following year?
Yeah.
Then we would have seen it and said, hey, we got to do this. Doggone it. Yeah, so.
Well, and, the past is the past.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out
Yeah.
how to pay for this. I mean,
Okay.
One option, pay for it all out of highway, and then either that leaves me short on our road program for this year, or I hope for that council approves an additional appropriation to make up for that.
Right.
The other option is to pay for it out of CDIT, but then you're still counting on the council or the commissioners to revise your CDIT plan, council to appropriate the money, or any combination,
Tell me again, how much do we owe them?
The invoices currently that I have is for 64 and change. It's 64.9.
Nope, I would buy that. I would buy that. That really makes sense because that's 2/3 of what I think we agreed to
It
pay.
was just short of $100,000, I
Yeah.
think is what it
Now,
was.
the first payment was call it 15,000, and this is 65. That's 80,000 that they have invoiced us to date. But see what they're doing is they're invoicing us as the services are rendered. Okay, the first one was for probably design, I want to say. And then now we're being invoiced for right-of-way acquisition, right-of-way engineering, and construction inspection. So
That's not my memory, but my memory was, hey, will you put $90,000 or $100,000 in this project if we do the rest? And we said, sure, and they said, we'll give you 3 years to pay. That's my memory. Not when we get this done, pay, when we get this done, pay. So,
Yeah.
so regardless, we owe $60-some thousand, and we need to get it paid. So.
The bad thing is we've been hitting CDIT pretty hard here.
I know.
A split.
Should we let the council decide?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we should let them decide what they think about it.
So we'll bring that to council, their April meeting, April 3rd.
I believe.
Do you find, I know I had all that paperwork, and I might still have it. We called it the County Line Project, but there's an agreement in place, and it spells out how we pay. Do you think you'd have anything like that?
I've found a couple copies. I'm not 100% certain I have the final executed copy. I know I have a final executed copy, but it was for that paving project.
Yeah, no, this is for the
This is
roundabout.
for Liberty Mills, definitely.
Yeah, Liberty Mills, yeah.
Didn't we sign that at Allen County when?
I don't know, we had a few meetings at Allen County,
I mean, I certainly can do some more
but
digging.
we would have
behind
had,
that.
it would have had to have been approved in this meeting right here.
Right.
I remember on the council hearing about it.
Do you?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I don't remember when it was.
Okay.
Well, so, I mean, if you're considering, and I'm not asking you to do anything today, because in theory, there's another meeting between now and when council meets, but could you consider, at whatever level, adding that to your CDIT plan, and then if council decides not to appropriate, then at least it's in the plan. I don't want to have to drag this out that much further, because if we just go to council and say, what do you want to do, then they're going to have to say, well, the commissioners have to revise their CETA plan, and then I have to wait until,
And that would be the easy way out, and I'd love to do that, but George has worked really hard on the plan, and we're, by law, we have to spend 75%, and I think you're probably over that
Now we
now,
are.
right? So it is the way to go, but I think we've made so many commitments certainly for 2018, that I'm not sure we have that kind of funds. We'll have to check into it, and we will between now and our next meeting, but I
That's fine.
also would
Yeah.
love to find that agreement. I
Yeah,
know we had to sign it in this
I'll-
meeting.
I'll find it. One way or another, I'll
Would you?
find it. Yeah.
Okay. You don't suppose you lost any files, do you?
Oh,
I
I haven't lost any files.
No, I
don't
was
throw
trying to
things
say it,
away.
I was trying to say it delicately, but
Whether
I
any
mean,
files got lost,
but guess who also has a copy of it? Allen County.
yes, right, that'll be my last resort.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree, but you should be able to find a copy there. That's all we need, because I know there's a commitment that we need to pay, but I just thought they'll invoice us the next 2 years, so
Right.
I'd love to see the CETA plans for those 2 years.
Yeah, I'll pull that because I don't remember actually we put it in there.
No, yeah.
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay.
Right.
Commissioner, anything? Commissioner?
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
Okay, yep, thank you.
Oh, I do have something, real quick. Do you have an SOP for removal of trees?
SOP, for
Yes.
removal of trees.
Yeah, any kind of
I don't
protocol
have
for-
anything in writing.
I guess what I'm thinking about, I have more people talk to me about, well, we've got, this tree's on the county right-of-way, and I need to get that out.
Yeah.
And we've talked about
We
that
hear
before.
that a lot.
Yeah,
But when you go out there and the tree or the tree branches are leaning into a phone cable from the backside, I'm sorry, that tree's not in our right of way. And I mean, I don't mean to be mean, but I don't know the nice way to say it, is that people want us to bail them out of their problems.
well, I guess my thought is if we had some kind of a written procedure for that, I don't know if we...
Policy or how to
Yeah.
handle it?
Yeah, that it would just make it easier for us, we can just say, here's our policy.
There's our
and
policy. Okay. I'll work on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
By that, you mean Beth will work on that, or?
No, I don't think that's a bad thing. Kevin and I will discuss it. Now, we could maybe chicken scratch it and ask Beth to kindly type it up for us,
Well,
but yeah, that's
But it might
something
be,
where-
it might be a worthy thing to have. It might keep you from.
Well, and,
you know.
if it helps you guys, and it'll help Beth when
Yeah.
people call.
Yeah.
Because we can
Okay.
say, checklist, is this applied, does this apply?
Sounds good.
All right, good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brandon.
You bet, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
one more thing. Way back to when you first started, and I applaud you for this, I've said all along, the drivers should have the ability to say, hey, on my route, I got such and such a problem. And I'm
yeah.
so appreciative that you work that way with them. I'm very appreciative. Nobody knows that route like they do, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so,
Absolutely.
thanks for,
It's like I told them when we did our training, this is, we want your input because you know your routes.
Yep.
And, I mean, they're part of the team too.
Yeah.
This is not
yeah,
I or me thing. This is us. And, so
it is a big team project.
they make you look good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, this weekend I talked to a couple of the highway workers, and they're very appreciative of you giving them the opportunity to do the Paiser rating and
Good.
so
I've kind of figured some of them would, do I have to do this? And
Yeah.
some would
Yeah.
The ones that I
I know
talked
how
to.
they are. Their territory is, it's like the ownership. They have it, and that's
Yeah.
one of the things that I wanted to give them an ownership. And yeah, I think they appreciate it. I think it's kind of almost a competition for some of them.
That's good.
That they want to get more of their roads,
Love it.
in better shape. So.
Love it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. And thank them.
Yes, I will again.
Okay, next on the agenda, we've got Nathan Bilger. He is our planning and building director on Plat that is, he wants approval of.
This was a plat that was approved by the county planning commission at their February meeting. And I believe we had the paper copy to look at for a couple of weeks.
We did. We've had it.
But Spock Elder Acres, you guys need that.
Yep.
Located up on 750 West, north of 800 North, in
Wow, that's on the corner.
far northwest part of Corinth County. Yeah.
There it is.
A little bit farther out there than even Tom is, so.
So it's just a one lot addition?
One lot plat, what they're doing is they're splitting the house off of the overall acreage. I can't recall exactly the reason why, but I believe it's for mortgage purposes or something along those lines. Splitting it off to the kids, something.
I'd make the motion that we approve the Batch Elder, or Bach Elder Acres plat.
Second.
Got a motion, we've got a second. Discussion, staff approval on this, secondary staff approval?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, secondary step.
Okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you, Nathan. Next on the agenda, we have Todd Geiger for a 4-H program update.
Good afternoon. I want to
Howdy.
thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to come share about our
Thank you.
4-H youth program. Some of you have heard some of this already, so
Very
it's
good.
here for the council meeting. The handout that I just gave you, first just kind of talks briefly about just the setup of our 4-H youth program here in the county. It is open to all of our youth in grades 3 through 12, and we also have a mini 4-H program that's open for any youth in grades kindergarten up through 2nd grade. 4-H is similar to that of our school systems today, that they're not bound by county lines anymore. So you'll notice as you kind of look through the first part, we have several youth that actually cross county lines and are a part of our Whitley County 4-H program. A year ago, we had about 80 to 85 kids that were coming to us from across county lines. So far this year, that number has grown to 140 kids that are coming from out of county that are part of our 4-H youth program. In 2017, 2016-17 year, we had 770 kids that were a part of our 4-H program right here in Whitley County. This was an increase of 22 kids from the year before. And also I broke down the traditional 4-H program, so those are the kids that are 3rd grade through 12th grade, kids that were kindergarten up to 2nd grade in our mini 4-H program. So we have about 117 kids in our minis, 653 in our traditional program. 160 adults that go through us to say, hey, we want to put our hand up in the air and say we'll help volunteer in any facet in the 4-H program. So these are adults that are different from what you see when you walk the fairgrounds. These are not the adults you see in the concession stands or taking tickets at the grandstand events. These are all adults that serve on a board. They serve as a club leader. They help out with different projects. So that's awesome, the amount of adult support that we have here in the county. Volunteer numbers are declining. That's not a unique problem in Whitley County. That is everywhere. Our current number today for this year, 2018, we're at about 149. So we're down about 11. I look for us to actually grow a little bit more before we get to fair time, so I think we're going to be really close to that 160 number again. Just some other information there about our 4-H program, the total number of clubs that we have, the difference between township-based clubs and project-based clubs. In 2016-17, we offered 58 total projects for our kids. This is just in our traditional program, so this is our 3rd grade through 12th grade. We added several new ones, and so in 2018, this year, we're also going to add some new projects. We're adding homemade ice cream, kind of one of those ones, and foods and 4-H has stayed the same for 100 years.
Do you need any judges for that?
We do,
Just
actually.
saying.
So
Yeah, I'm just saying.
we're going to be
Okay.
reaching out here in a month or so to see whether we can get some judges. We're going to do that just like our barbecue grilling one. We're going to have
Oh, barbecue.
Well, I did that. Yeah.
we're going to do a contest at fair also with our homemade ice cream this year. So
cool.
we're going to have the kids come in, bring their recipe, bring their whatever device they want to make homemade ice cream in, make it right there, have a panel of judges, and they get a sample. And
Oh, that's neat.
so, yeah.
The barbecue was fun.
Yes, and that one's actually grown a ton from last year. I know that we only had 1 or 2 that were a part of the competition, but
Yeah.
once they saw it the first time, now that's exploded.
Sure.
In fact, I think our numbers is up over
Sure.
25 kids that are in barbecue grilling this year.
Oh, boy.
Some other new types of things that we're doing with our 4-H youth program. Last year we rolled out the remote-controlled aircraft club, big into drones, airplanes, helicopters. We're offering that again, as well as robotics, but we're adding to that. We're currently in the process of doing our junior chef academy. We have a local chef that she said she'd love to work with kids, so she's doing 4 sessions with the kids. They love it. I think right now we have 11 or 12 youth that are in that. Another new one that we're starting this year, it will start in May, is the RC cars. So these are big remote-controlled vehicles. These aren't the ones that you find at Walmart. So these are the $200, $300, $400 options. There's a adult club in Whitley County I didn't know anything about, and they got a track right behind Whitley Automotive, kind of in that empty lot between Whitley Automotive and Ace Hardware. There's a dirt track. I guess they come and play and hang out and have fun on the weekend there. So they're gonna have the kids come there, teach them everything that they know about remote control cars, and give the kids the opportunity with those. To our traditional program, so we're going to add homemade ice cream. Another new one we're going to add is construction toys. Legos are huge, clear all the way down to Lincoln Logs. Any kid that likes those types of engineering projects, those do fit and have fit before in Whitley County, but they were never defined. So if a kid said, hey, I want to build this whatever out of Legos, can I bring a project? You can. We just throw it in what we call other craft. So instead of that, we're going to pull it out and actually make a construction toy project. And then we're adding beekeeping this year as well. One of the other new programs that we're going to add is with our mini 4-H program, we're going to add what's called our mini 4-H livestock mentoring program. To get many years ago, Purdue did away with having our minis actually bring their own animals to the fair due to liability, due to biosecurity, things like that, which is understandable. But that kind of took the excitement for livestock projects out of our mini program. Those kids don't have the opportunity unless they live on a farm. And the number of kids that are coming off a farm today as compared to just 3 years ago has dropped even further. So we're going to take those minis that are interested, partner them up with an older 4-H member. For example, if that mini's interested in feeder calves, partner them up with an older 4-H'er that's been doing the feeder calf project, set it up so that they can go over to the older mentor's home 3-4 times before the fair, learn about taking care of the animal, and the name, helping with the animal and all that. And then during the fair, during that species show, at the end of the show, we are going to have our mini exhibition show. So the mini is going to be able to come in the ring with their mentor, their older mentor, and their older mentor's animal, and be able to be in the ring, and they'll walk around the ring, and hopefully we get buy-in with our judges. The judges will go around and ask them questions. So hopefully that will be success. So far, the parents of our minis love the idea. So in the 4-H STEM program that I rolled out last year, where I'm taking our high school 4-Hers, these would be that are part of our junior leader project, so those kids that really want to step up and be leaders. We go out to schools, we've went out to 4-H clubs, we've been to the Y, and we go out and we do hands-on STEM activities. The kids help create every single one of them. They help prepare, put everything together, and they lead everything. They're teaching the kids all the science, engineering, mathematics, technical stuff as well. I'm just kind of Johnny Supply Boy when we go. They have a blast with it. The schools that we've been into love it. We've been to Cherubusco, Northern Heights, Coessie, Faith Christian, Indian Springs, and their ultimate goal is to be able to be in every school in the county. So I know that was a ton, but any questions for me?
Good job, Todd.
Yep. Impressive. Look forward to the fair.
Yes.
Thank you, Todd. Okay, we have the minutes in front of you. Have you had an opportunity to take a look at the minutes and to see, are there any amendments?
They look good to me. I move we approve them as presented.
Second.
Got a motion to approve the March 5th, 2018 minutes.
It does need to be a change.
Oh, that's right.
The Plan Commission, that should be
Yep.
Democrat, not Republican.
Yeah,
That's
had that
true.
marked.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay.
Approved as corrected.
Okay, we got a correction in the matter of the Plan Commission board member appointments. On the minutes, it shows the board member needs to be Republican, and it actually is Democrat. So we'll change that, and that will be our amendment. We've got a motion to approve with amendment.
And second?
Got a second? Further discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you.
With regard to claims, I would make a motion that we approve the payroll claims for this time period.
Got a motion to approve payroll claims. We've got a second. Further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you. Regular claims?
I had a chance to review the regular claims this morning. They were huge, $300 and some thousand. The only thing of real noticeable that I saw was, and I didn't have a chance to talk to you, Tamla. Did you see that note I left?
No, I did not.
Okay. Because I left everything in the room, okay?
Okay.
I found a claim that the cover sheet for the claim said that these claims, and these were claims for meals at a conference, and the cover sheet said it was for 12/21/17, 12/22/17, 12/23/17, and you look at the actual expenses, they all took place in February. So, and the claim form itself says December. So I'm giving it back. It needs sent back to that department and credited or done correctly, because it looks bad. I think it's only a $290 claim. It's not the end of the world, but I think the paperwork's important. I think we need more signatures. So with that, I'd make a motion that we approve the claims.
Got a motion to approve the regular claims. We've got a second. Any further discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you.
Already got them.
Oh, yeah. You're Johnny on the spot. I think I'm probably the guy that dropped the ball on that, so.
Angie, coordinator.
Okay, the county currently has the employee assistance program where we offer 8 free sessions to all full, part-time employees and their families. We are currently contracted with the Bowen Center, and we did have a contract with JT Counseling, which is no longer in business as of, I think, March 1st of 2016. One of the partners was Tina Geiger. She would like to provide services to the county as well, so she turned in her agreement. Matt has reviewed it. I believe you guys have seen it, so if you guys are in favor of it.
I make a motion that we approve Tina Jager's contract for providing EAP.
Okay, we've got a
Second.
motion, we got a second. Further discussions? You're okay with?
Yeah, there was a couple changes that we made. Tina was fine with them, so we're good now.
Okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. Thank you.
I think it only needs. I think that is Tina's line.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong.
Whoops. Yeah,
Just a little slash there.
yeah, okay. Never mind then.
Sorry.
Make it Dina.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay,
that's all I had to present.
okay. Matt, anything else?
The only other thing I can think of that Angie and I are working on is some revisions to the policy for using rooms in the building.
Yeah, yeah.
That Mark was something Mark wanted, and we met and talked about that again today. Hopefully, we'll have something shortly that everybody's okay with on that.
Good.
Okay.
And
You want
one,
to make an introduction?
Well, we can. Sam Ladowski, new attorney in our office,
Sam.
is going to be helping me with county stuff. It's literally his first day, so it's a lot for a first day, but thanks for coming, Sam.
good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
You have our sympathy.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you very much.
He hasn't even met White Leather yet, so. You may reconsider in a couple of weeks.
Anything?
I don't have anything else. Were you guys going to do this today, or were you still waiting
Yeah.
to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
That's the only other thing, I think.
Yes.
Yep, we'll take care of that. Pamela, did you have anything?
I did not.
Commissioner?
Yeah, we got one thing. We've been kicking around this planning commission appointment for some time to replace Kitty Kirch, and like to move we replace him with Joe Wolf at this time.
I'd second that.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve Kenny Kirch on the Plan Commission with Joe Wolf. We've got a second. Further discussions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, the same. It's unanimous. I think he's a great addition to the Plan Commission. Anything else, Commissioner?
Not at this time.
Commissioner?
No, sir, sorry.
How about the public? Anything from the public at all? Call for the motion.
Joanne, I got something for you.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion to adjourn, we got a second. Discussion, favor, raise your right hand. Thank you, everyone.